to talk a little bit about sound today and what we hear as mediums. Obviously, quite often I'll say I hear something, but actually it's not quite the case. I don't actually hear it. It could be that I'm aware of it, so a thought can come in. Like yesterday I got two names, two different people which were right, but they were very clear to me. Now, I probably said as I got them, I heard the name XYZ and I heard the name XYZ. Now, I didn't actually hear them with my ears. And in those cases, I didn't actually hear them at all. I was aware of them, but they were very, very clear. It arrives like a subjective thought, so it's within only my own awareness. The difference being subjective is within and something you're aware of. Objective is something that externally people can be aware of. So if someone says a name in my head and only I hear it, it's subjective. If they say it in the room and everyone in the room hears it, it's objective. So I got these two names yesterday. Not really that great with getting names, but they were good. They came in, and in fact I got a few more pieces of information like that as well. But I never heard them. But I probably said I heard the name, where actually I'm really, if I'm telling the strict truth, I'm aware of that name or those names. I do hear, which is known as clairaudience. And when I do hear, I tend to always get so surprised I've actually heard anything. I go, whoa, and I lose that connection. But over the years, it's become a little bit easier to hold on to. We've had things like when we stayed at the old forge near Glastonbury. I was asleep in bed. Tracy was awake. I was chatting away to myself, and she heard what sounded like the old smithy reply from the corner of the room, which was the first time that had happened to her, and it was a bit of a shock. It sounded absolutely fabulous. Of course, I knew nothing about it. So it does happen, and we do hear people around the house where we all hear them, including the children. So I mean, those are objective voices. So the first voice I kind of really heard was quite confusing, because it was the voice of my own mother, who is still with us today. And I was sitting about 7 p.m. one evening watching TV, and I heard him. I heard what I thought was out loud. My mum go, "Can you hear me?" And I said, "Yeah, hello, yeah." And Tracy goes, "What?" And I go, "Did you not hear that lady's voice? Did you not hear my mum?" So she says, "No." So I'm thinking that's a bit strange, because to me, I'd heard her as if she was sitting in the room beside me. So obviously it was subjective. Tracy couldn't hear it. Rang up my dad, obviously, in case my mum had gone over. Filled me with all sorts of worries. She's still here today, and we're probably quite a few years later. Following night, similar time, I hear same voice. "Can you hear me?" So I went, "Yeah, I can hear you." Tracy goes, "What?" I think, oh, here we go. So don't worry, just being weird. Just ignore me. Following night, same voice, similar time. It's about 7 o'clock in the evening. "Can you hear me now?" So I'm thinking at this point, Tracy's going to think I'm an absolute fruitcake. So in my own mind, I replied, "Yes, I can hear you." Didn't get any response. But again, it was very clear to me, as if someone was sitting beside me and speaking, with a voice I knew of my mother. Still with us. Still rang my dad. Still checked up, thinking what on earth's going on. Because there have been times when I have heard people shortly before they've gone. So again, bit of worry there. Next night, I think it was, "Can you still hear me?" And in my head, I replied, "Yes, I can still hear you." I got almost like a woo, like a that's great sort of thing. And I thought, then I thought at that point, I've absolutely nailed it. I can start giving up my day job, living out my dream, and doing this professionally. Because if you can get that level of kind of quality audio regularly, then I just thought, well, you're going to get your names right, your places right. All they're going to do is speak to me now, and I'm just going to reel off all this information, and ta-da, we've cracked it. Nothing for about 18 months after that, typically. And when I went to the college and had a spiritual assessment, probably a year or so later, it was mentioned then about how voice and sounds were being experimented with by the spirit world, and that how they can use the voice of a loved one, because it's less of a shock to you when you hear it. So I'm there, hear my mother's voice, which I'm familiar with, loving, caring mum's voice. Far better for me than if a stranger's just gone, ta-da, boo, here we are. So for me, that was appreciated, because I am quite a jumpy person for all the things that goes on around me. I'm still a bit of a big girl's blouse. So, yeah, so it was nice that they found a way to play with that in a way that wouldn't get me running around and out in the garden and spraying holy water and getting the garlic and all that sort of stuff. So there's been a few other things happen. As I say, Tracy hears voices reply to me when I'm asleep and talking to people. But as I say, two things, subjective and objective. Subjective being only I'm aware of it. Objective being anybody in the room's aware of it. And the way I've got names, it can be drawn like on a slate in front of me. So I see a light on the wall. I can see a name there. Or I can look on the wall and be aware of a name. I can hear a voice. As clear as if we were talking at times. But for me, most of the times it's a thought that arrives with the information that I'm aware of that probably sounds kind of like my own thoughts, but there's this, well, why would I think that? So yesterday when I got names, they were very clear to me, and I probably said to the people, I heard this name and I heard that name, but in truth be known, it's probably I was made aware of this name and I was made aware of the other name.